Back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So the old diarrhea is starting to ease up now. I am still shitting liquid, but it's not every 2 minutes. That's a nice way to start the week, isn't it? You're probably sitting there listening to this, eating your cornflakes, your soggy cornflakes, mushy, soggy, wet cornflakes, which is exactly what my shit looks like at the moment. There's some white stuff coming out of it, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. It definitely doesn't look like anything I've eaten recently, so it's probably my intestines. I don't know. So I'm starting to feel good again. It was pretty rough over the last 24 hours. I've been very lethargic over the last 24 hours. That's a little bit because I have gastro or whatever the fuck it is, and it's a little bit because I'm like, fucking just milk it. Milk the fuck out of it. So I have been milking it a little bit. I've been putting on a little bit of a show. And I'm stretching it now as well because I'm trying to get out of something. I got out of it last night, but I don't know if I can get out of it tonight. We are trying to wean the baby off breastfeeding, and it's just not working. She is fucking addicted to that titty. And during the night, for whatever reason, over the last few months, she started waking up like every 25 minutes to have a feed. And my wife is absolutely fucking exhausted. I'm not. I sleep through the whole thing. But my wife hasn't had a good night's sleep in probably 9 months. 9 months. She hasn't had a good sleep in 9 months. That's a long time. The breastfeeding thing for the women, that's the hardest part about having kids. Not for guys. Guys do nothing. But the women breastfeeding, Jesus Christ. You have to give birth, and then you got to breastfeed afterwards. It's not really fair, but that's why God gave you empathy, so you could deal with that shit. If it was the man's job to feed and keep the baby alive, the population of the world would be like 60 to 70 people. That's it. It would be one little village somewhere. I have been sleeping like a baby for 9 months. My wife will wake up in the morning, she's all fucking jittery, and her nerves are jangled. She barely knows what's going on, but the baby will wake her up. And she'll smile with the baby and all that sort of stuff. I'll be woken up at like 9:30 a.m. out of a 9-hour unbroken sleep and still be angry at the baby. Like, what the fuck? When is this going to end? And in the morning, my wife will be like, she was up every half an hour for a feed last night. And I'm like, she was what? I didn't hear anything. And I'll start telling her about dreams I've had. About these crazy dreams I've had. She hasn't had a dream in like 9 months. So anyway, we're trying to wean this fucking baby off the breastfeeding, and it's just not fucking working. So I suggested the other night that I will take the baby into another room and sleep with it and just let it fucking cry itself out and try and feed it with the bottle. The baby hates the fucking bottle. Just eat the fucking bottle, baby. And so that was the plan last night, but I was too sick last night, and I actually only said that to get myself out of trouble. I preempted some trouble because she hadn't been sleeping at all, like getting like 2 hours a night, and I was getting some eyeballs. She was shooting me some fucking really nasty stares as I slept in, and she took the baby out to bath her in the morning. So I'm like, I need to come up with something. And the first thing that popped into my head was, I'll just fucking take the baby then. If you're not sleeping, I'll go in another room and I'll spend maybe a night or 2 nights not sleeping. And I don't really want to do it. I mean, I'll do it. I said I would, but I am still feeling a little bit lethargic from that gastro. Maybe tomorrow I'll be feeling a little bit better. I'll do it if I have to tonight, if I'm forced to. It probably is time my wife gets one good night's sleep, but I tell you what, she better get ready for some fucking complaining tomorrow morning because I'm going to make myself out like a hero. And it is kind of heroic, isn't it, to sacrifice my sleep so my wife can get her first good night's sleep in 9 months. So that's what I'll be doing tonight, possibly, unless this gastro flares up, then I'm just not going to be able to do it. But I'll try, I'll see how it goes. Anyway. It is Monday, and Monday is Ask Boyle time. Send me a question, tell me a rhyme, 'cause it's Ask Boyle time. Okay, so there's been some good Ask Boyle sent in lately. There's been some good hypotheticals sent in lately as well, so I might start mixing in the Ask Boyles and the hypotheticals on Monday now. Hypotheticals do have a better jingle. Not that It's Ask Boyle time isn't a good jingle. It's a great jingle, but Hypothetical Mondays, tell me why. Hypothetical Mondays is a much better jingle. So keep sending the hypotheticals and the Ask Boyles in. You can send them into my social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or email me on boylecomedy@gmail.com. Send your questions into the Patreon as well, and I will skip you past the tight-ass cunts. So this week's Ask Boyle was actually sent through the Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, the links are in my social media bios. Or just message me directly and I'll send you the link myself. So yeah, this week's question was sent in through the Patreon. It was sent in by the Aurelian all the way from fucking Ireland. So the Aurelian sent in this. It seems like you've got a serious female following judging by the Fucked Up Fridays and the commenters on the Patreon. What's the breakdown, male and female? Or more fascinating, what's the breakdown of actual people who are on the wagon and those still happy off it? Well, the Aurelian, you have come to the right place. Saying that doesn't really make sense, but it's all about continuity. If I didn't say it, you wouldn't even know what the fuck's going on. So, Aurelian, I'll break it down for you. These statistics are coming directly from Spotify. These stats don't include the other carriers like Apple and shit like that. These numbers are directly and only through Spotify. But I think it's roughly the same everywhere. All right, so this is the breakdown of the gender of my audience. Male, 85%. 85% fucking sausage. That is not the number I wanted. That is too high. I'm surrounded by dick. Everywhere I turn, everywhere I look, there's a fucking sausage in my face. So that's 85% of my listeners on Spotify are fucking dudes. So it seems like I have more listeners because women talk more. They get into it. So I've got 85% sauce and then 11% of the listeners have a puss. But that's a good 11%. These bitches are quality bitches. They aren't your fucking fly-by-the-night fucking chicks. They're loyal. They're quality bitches, these ones. They are also mental. Most of them are mental. That 11% are quality fucking bitches. That's another reason why you should join the Patreon, because eventually I'm trying to turn the Patreon into sober Tinder, where the 11% of fucking chicks can sift through the 85% of fucking sausage and try to find someone who is equally as mental as they are. But that 11% of female listeners represents almost exactly the percentage of females that were interested in me in the outside world. Probably less. Probably 9% were interested. But that 9 to 11% of chicks that were ever interested in me were always fucking special chicks. There was a couple of special needs in there too. Anyway, so 85% sausage, 11% fucking puss, and then 1% not specified. 1% of the listeners are trying to keep it a mystery. Pull down their pants, you don't know what you're going to get. It's a lucky dip. It's kind of exciting, isn't it? I did get my first Fucked Up Friday sent in by one of the trans community, so eventually that will be coming. So 1% not specified, and then 3% non-binary. So 3% of the listeners are like, fuck you, Boyle. I don't give a fuck what the definitions of the genders are. I don't subscribe to any of them. I am a blank canvas. Okay, blank canvas, I'm cool with that. I don't give a shit. Call yourself whatever you want. But just before we fuck, can you tell me if you got a dick or a puss? So that's the breakdown of the genders. Now we'll move on to age. So under 1% of the listeners are aged from 0 to 17. A very dangerous age group. I've actually had a few 15 and 16-year-olds message me, and they are way fucking smarter than I was at that age. They're fucking smarter than I am at this age, to be honest with you. So that's the TikTok generation. Then I've got 6% of listeners are aged 17 to 23. They're the ones who send me a message and they're like, yeah, I'm completely done with booze. It's ruining my life. I'm 22. I'm ready to move on. And then the next thing they post is them at a fucking 5-day festival. So then 23 to 27 is 17% of the listeners. That age group are the ones who really, if you can fucking quit drinking in that Goldilocks fucking period, or at least get it under control, you're going to save a lot of fucking trouble. So the next group is 27 to 35, and that group is 31%, and that group is problematic. There's a few issues in that fucking age bracket. There's a few people waking up at about 33, 34 going, what the fuck happened to the last 15 years? These are the ones that message me and I'm like, listen, you've got to stop drinking forever now. And then the next age bracket is 35 to 44, and that's also 31%. And that age bracket, they message me, they're still drinking. Just about everyone in that age bracket still drinking. And then I give them a little bit of fucking advice, like, stop fucking drinking. And they're like, yeah, I need to. Yeah, for sure. Good idea. And then they'll just continue drinking. The next age bracket is 44 to, it doesn't state what it's to, but it's 11%. And that's the oldies. There's a few messy people in that bracket. And then 3-4% is just unknown. So I'll just tell you some more information that they've given me. So the music that the people who listen to my podcast listen to goes like this. The Rolling Stones, number 1. And then Kanye West for some reason. And then the Beatles. And then Led Zeppelin. And then Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, the Creator. But that changes quite a lot. But the Stones are always in there. So what's next? All right, so countries I have the most listeners in. Number 1 is equal. Australia and the USA are equal. They both love the Boyle equally, Australia and the US. Then number 3 is the UK, then Canada, then New Zealand, then Ireland, then Netherlands, then Finland, then Sweden, then Germany. And I generally get daily listeners from about 40 to 50 countries every day. But that will be like one download from some guy in Lithuania who's fucking his sex doll and listening to the podcast while he's doing it. The top 7 is where everyone comes from. Anyway, what was the rest of your fucking question? How many people still drink or something? I can tell you this, I get messages all the time, and everyone who messages me has quitting on their mind. Everyone is in some way wanting to quit. And I would say it's less than 1% of listeners who are actually sober at the moment. There's been some people who've quit since they've started listening to the podcast, and they've done fucking well. There's a lady in New Zealand named Sally. She was a pisshead for fucking like 63 years, and she's been off it for well over a year now. There's Beth in fucking Pennsylvania, I think it is. She just did a fucking year. There's Long Woman out there in California. It's mainly the chicks that get off the booze. There was Scott out there in Canada. I think he did like 6-8 months. There's a lot of people trying to get off the booze, but there's a lot of fucking people jumping back on it after like 3 months or a month or 2 weeks or 3 days. It's a fucking process. It's a long fucking process. It took me a decade to finally fucking quit for good. So people are always in like different stages of their fucking quitting journey. But yeah, on the whole, there are very fucking few sober people listening to this fucking podcast. It's all fucking pisshead degenerate fucks. And I wouldn't have it any other way, but seriously, take a good hard look at yourself. A lot of you need to fucking quit real soon. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. That's it for tonight, and I'll see you the fuck later.